Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about my weekly stock picks for the week of January 10th through the 14th. Before we do, just to reiterate, not a financial advisor, make sure you do full research before investing. Also, if you find value in today's videos, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content, and hit the notification bell. That way, YouTube can let you know every time we release new content. Other than that, let's dive right on into it. Alright guys, so my picks for this week. Before we get into those, we're going to talk about a recap of last week. My picks were Tesla, TSLA, CLNE, and ZNOG. So Tesla actually was down a decent amount this past week. CLNE kind of finished basically exactly where it started. And then ZNOG, we talked about how, it not necessarily would run up last week, but it's still creating some good buying opportunities, and I think soon they should release some type of update on the testing. So if you're looking to average down or start your position, again, this is a riskier play because they haven't always been extremely transparent with us, unless they have full, full update for you. They're not going to just, throw something else out there unless it is, tangible information, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but just know without news, this thing is just going to kind of hang out and not do a whole lot, okay, until they get some type of PR updates on the testing. So my picks for this week, guys, are Tesla, again, okay, because this, now looking at the technicals, Tesla makes for an interesting buy, basically from levels that were, attractive several weeks ago. It looks like we could, bounce down to about the 1,000, maybe 980 mark before making our way back up, in which we'll take a look at the charts and look at that. ALGS, guys, this is one of the FinViz screener stocks that every now and again we do this. Like if we see something that's super oversold, it's kind of, we call like an easy money play. You can grab anywhere from 3 to 10% on it and then bounce out of it. I'll show you the charts on that. Just full disclaimer, I don't know anything about the stock. I just know it's beat down like you would not believe. And just technically speaking, if you're trying to scalp something, it might be, something to kind of keep an eye on or try to grab a couple percent off of it. And then IQST, guys, we're approaching an interesting level. We kept talking about how this stock was going to run up and double, and it did. And then we said, okay, once it hits around the dollar mark, we're going to start selling off, and we are. Okay, so we're still selling off, and now we're just trying to figure out, where do we find the bottom? Is the bottom around 70 cents? Is the bottom around 60 cents? Do we somehow go down to 50 cents? Oh, buddy, I wish we would, because I would buy a lot more. So we're going to look at that one, and wherever it bottoms out at is going to be some attractive levels, and it could start bouncing off and start moving back up towards the upside. Then the watch list, guys, DraftKings, GNOG, and then Zion Oil and Gas. We're just watching for some type of updates on testing. All right, guys, looking at Tesla, TSLA, we did break below that red SMA line. So we are close to undervalued here. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Monday. Do we push down lower and test that 980 mark? If we do, then that's where I would be looking to buy at, because I think that we're going to recover fairly well and pop back above that 1,000 mark fairly easily. Do we hold there? I have no idea. But in my opinion, if we fall down to 980, that's where I would buy, because we are so close to undervalued that if we go any lower, we're in undervalued. And if you look at this stock, every time it hits undervalued, we have a very, very strong recovery move from it, okay? Or it could come out on Monday and bounce right back up and retest that 1083 mark before even falling back down. So I'm looking, hopefully, if we can get down to about the 1,000 or a little bit below the 1,000 mark, that's where I'll buy some in, and I'll look to take profits probably at about the 1083 to 1100 mark. Now this next stock, ALGS, this is a therapeutics company, so I'm assuming they had some type of trial that didn't go as well as planned, and anytime that happens, it just tanks, right? So it tanked all the way from $12 to $3.82, and you see we are so undervalued right here that eventually this thing is going to start making its way back up once it settles, which it looks like it's kind of settling around here. But you want to make sure, you don't want to go piling a bunch of money right off the bat. You want to make sure that it's going to maybe bounce up a little bit from here. So I'd be very careful with this though, however, because again, I don't know a whole lot about the company. I just know that it's super beat down, technically speaking. And you think about it, it's all the way down to like the 10-11% mark on the RSI. And once it gets out of there to like the 20 or 30% on the RSI, that's a decent little return on your money. But you want to make sure that it's done selling off and that we found the bottom. Okay. And then next up, guys, IQST, ticker symbol IQST. And this thing we talked about again, but it hit $1.05. It tried to keep coming up, and then now all of a sudden a big sell-off. So we're trying to figure out where we're going to find some support. I called out. I said I think that we'll find some support at about 70 cents and then bounce off. And we did here, but we got to kind of wait and see what happens on Monday. Do we, bounce off of here and start consolidating? If we start selling off even more, then you're looking at about 62 cents as your next level of support, which would create some really interesting levels to go and buy in at, because again, I think this stock's going to hit a couple bucks this year, maybe higher, especially when they get listed to the NASDAQ. So right now it's currently at fair value, so that's why I'm just kind of watching it to see, are we going to bounce up and start moving up, or are we going to sell off more? If we get down into the 60s, then we should be at undervalued levels, which would make some great buying opportunities in my opinion. So next up, guys, DraftKings. We want to take a look at that and see if this is the reversal and the recovery we've been waiting on, or is it just kind of like a little false breakout? Are we going to fall back down and retest that 23.21 level, right? So they got to get above $32 in order for me to kind of take it serious and hold above there, because that's where the red SMA line is. If we can get above there and hold, then that can signal a reversal, and we could be heading back up to 40-50 bucks sometime this year in 2022. And then Zion Oil and Gas, we had a little tiny buy signal here, okay, and started kind of coming up, hit as high as about 17 cents, and then we fell back down to about 16 cents. There's not a whole lot of volume, so in my opinion, you can expect to either A, just kind of trade sideways here, or B, pull back down with no news by probably Wednesday, all the way and test that 12.5 to 10.5 mark. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you in this video. Let me know your comments below. Other than that, we'll catch you then.